Hey there, it's great to be with you today. Now, I don't know where you're listening from. Maybe you're getting ready for work. Maybe you're on your lunch break scrolling through your phone. Or maybe you've just had another oddly long conversation with that one male coworker who always finds a way to just happen to be near you. Either way, I want to say you are not crazy for noticing certain patterns. You're not overthinking, and no, you're not just imagining it. There are moments in life when someone's behavior shifts subtly, quietly, and it leaves you wondering, is he just being friendly, or is there something more going on here? Today, we're going to decode that, because the workplace is tricky. It's not like being at a bar or on a dating app where intentions are clear and flirting is expected. In a professional setting, attraction doesn't show up as a bold move. It shows up in whispers, in stolen glances, in too long smiles, in the "I thought you might like this," gestures that somehow seem personal even when they look professional. And if you've ever felt that a male coworker might like you but weren't sure if it was all in your head, this one's for you. Let's talk about the 5 signs that your male coworker might just be into you. Not as a teammate, not as a colleague, but as something more. Let's dive in. Let's start with one of the most telling and often most overlooked signs. He finds reasons to be around you. Now, I want you to think about something. In the modern workplace, people are busy. Everyone's juggling deadlines, emails, meetings, and their 5th coffee of the day just to stay sane. No one has extra time to spare unless that time feels worth it. So when a man starts to show up around you, not once, not twice, but consistently, that's not random, that's not convenience, that's intentional. You'll notice it in small, subtle ways. He chooses the desk that's just a little closer to yours, even when there are other free seats. He shows up early to a meeting, but more specifically, he shows up when you show up. Maybe he doesn't even have to be in the break room, but there he is, pouring a coffee right when you're grabbing yours. He offers to help you with a project that realistically, he didn't need to get involved in. And yes, maybe he masks it all under professionalism because he's trying to be respectful, trying to play it cool. But if you step back, you'll notice he is choosing proximity, because proximity creates connection and people are drawn to what they want to feel more of. Let me give you a little secret here. Men don't linger where they feel nothing. If he's indifferent, he'll stay in his lane. If he's interested, he'll find excuses to cross into yours. It could be as obvious as joining your lunch group every time, or it could be more subtle, like sending you a Slack message about something that probably could have gone to someone else. This doesn't mean he's head over heels or planning your future wedding, but it does mean you've sparked something enough for him to want to be near you, to learn your rhythm, to feel your energy more often than chance would allow. It's almost like he's trying to be part of your world before he's brave enough to ask if there's space in it for him. Now, here's what's important. When you notice this, don't rush to judgment and definitely don't feel pressure to reciprocate unless you want to. But if you're curious, if you like the attention, let yourself enjoy the dance a little. Hold eye contact a moment longer. Ask him something back, because attraction doesn't always walk in and shout, "Hey, I like you." Sometimes it just shows up and sits next to you in a meeting over and over again. So pay attention to who keeps choosing your space even when he doesn't have to be there. That choice, it often speaks louder than words ever will. Here's where things start to get interesting. We all know what normal workplace conversations sound like. Did you get that report? What's the update on the client call? Can you send me the link to that file? It's functional, efficient, emotionally neutral. But then there's him, and suddenly the conversations start to shift. He still asks you about work, sure, but there's a curiosity in his voice that goes beyond deadlines and deliverables. He's not just interested in your tasks, he's interested in you. You mention in passing that you had dinner with friends last night, and the next morning he says, "Where did you end up going?" Or maybe he asks what you usually do on weekends, what kind of music you're into, or what you studied before landing this job. These aren't random questions. They're breadcrumbs. Each one is a tiny step toward getting to know you piece by piece. Now, here's what's important to understand. Men don't generally ask personal questions in the workplace unless they're trying to connect. It's risky. Why? Because they don't want to seem too forward or inappropriate. So when he does go there, even lightly, it usually means he feels drawn to you and is trying to build a bridge. He's trying to get a sense of who you are when the work mask is off, what you care about, what lights you up, what you're like when you're not in office mode. And even more telling, he remembers the answers. Because interest isn't just about asking questions. It's about caring enough to listen. And when a man is genuinely curious about you, he stores those little details away. He's building a map of your world so he can figure out where he might fit into it. So if you find yourself talking to a coworker and realizing, wait, this is starting to feel more like coffee with a friend than a project meeting, take notice. That shift in tone, that warmth, is usually not accidental. And look, it doesn't have to be a deep heart-to-heart for it to mean something. Sometimes it's just him asking how your weekend went and you feeling like he actually cares about the answer. That's emotional curiosity. And when that shows up at work, it's often the first real clue that he's not just seeing you as a colleague, he's starting to see you as someone special. Now, this one is subtle but powerful. Let's talk about memory. Not in the boring textbook kind of way, but in the ICU kind of way. Because in a sea of conversations, emails, and daily noise, people forget things all the time. So when someone remembers a small detail about you, one that most people wouldn't even clock, that's not just good memory, that's emotional investment. If your male coworker remembers the name of your dog, the vacation you mentioned 2 weeks ago, or that your favorite afternoon snack is peanut M&Ms, that's not random, that's intentional. He's not storing that information because he needs it. He's storing it because you said it and that made it important. And what's fascinating is that these little things, they're usually things you don't even remember saying. You casually mentioned you were binge watching a show one day and the next week he asks, so did you finish that series yet? And suddenly you're thinking, wait, I barely remember telling him that, but he remembers because he was listening, not just hearing. Here's the truth. When a man is attracted to you, his brain lights up in a different way. He becomes more attuned to what you say, how you say it, and what matters to you. And remembering those little things, that's his way of showing you, sometimes unconsciously, that you matter to him. And it doesn't stop at remembering. Sometimes he goes a step further. He brings your favorite coffee without asking. He sends you a link to an article about that podcast you said you loved. He makes a joke that ties back to something you once said in passing, something you didn't even think he noticed. That's not just thoughtful. That's a breadcrumb trail of emotional connection. Why? Because when a man remembers details, he's building familiarity. He's saying, I know you. I'm paying attention. I'm tuned in. That's how trust is built. That's how closeness grows. And look, this doesn't mean you need to start overanalyzing every friendly gesture. Some people are just nice. But when the remembering is consistent, when it's paired with presence, and when it's clearly you he's focused on, not everyone else, that's when it becomes a clue worth noticing. Because in a world where people forget your name the moment you walk out of the room, someone who remembers the tiniest thing you said 2 Thursdays ago, that's rare. And rare is often where romance begins. Let's talk about nerves. Let's talk about nerves, because this one, it's not always the first thing people notice. But once you see it, when a man is completely relaxed, you'll notice it in his body language. He's casual, confident, cracking jokes, maybe even holding court with the team during lunch. But then you walk into the room and something changes. Maybe his voice shifts, it drops a little or loses that usual rhythm. He stumbles over a word. He suddenly becomes hyper aware of what he's doing with his hands. Or his eye contact becomes inconsistent. Either he's looking at you too much or avoiding your gaze altogether, like it's just too intense. That my friend, is not awkwardness. That's attraction trying very hard to stay cool. You see, when a guy truly likes you, not just thinks you're pretty, but genuinely likes you, it creates a sense of vulnerability. You're no longer just a coworker. You're someone whose opinion suddenly matters. Your presence carries more weight. And that can be unnerving, especially in the workplace where everything's meant to be polished, composed, and professional. The moment real attraction enters the room, it shakes that calm, because now this isn't just about work. This is about emotion, about impression, about what if she knows I like her? What if I say something dumb? What if I come across as unprofessional? What if I blow my shot without even knowing I had one? And all those what ifs, they don't create smooth, flawless communication. They create hesitation, fidgeting, slight changes in behavior that wouldn't happen if he didn't care how he was coming across. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Some men, especially the confident ones, don't get nervous around women. They're charming, relaxed, even flirtatious. But when it comes to someone who actually matters to them, someone they see as different, someone they could actually fall for, suddenly they become a little less polished, a little more human, a little more endearing. It's like watching Superman trip over his own feet when he sees Lois Lane. The man who was completely in control 5 minutes ago suddenly can't find his words. That's not weakness, that's emotional honesty peeking through the cracks. Now, you might notice other signs alongside this. He may fix his posture when you're near, or adjust his clothes, small subconscious attempts to impress, or he laughs more, sometimes a little too loud, as if to show he's fun, interesting, someone you'd want to be around. You might even sense he's not sure how to talk to you. He's more formal in emails, but in person there's this awkward warmth, like he's trying to bridge the gap between colleague and something more. And here's the kicker. Nervousness around you doesn't mean he's immature or unsure of himself in general. It means you affect him. You've shifted the dynamic. You've become the variable he didn't plan for. And he's trying to navigate that without giving too much away. But you'll see it in the way he lingers after conversations, in how quickly he stands up when you enter a room, in that slightly flustered energy that says, I'm trying really hard not to look like I'm trying really hard. And the beauty is, once you notice it, once you see past the nervousness and into the why behind it, you realize sometimes the guy who's not as smooth around you is the one who genuinely cares the most. So pay attention to the nerves, because in a place where most people are trying to be cool, calm, and collected, the one who isn't might just be the one who's falling for you. Let's be honest. In the workplace, most conversations are like quick pit stops. People drop in, say what they need to say, and then move on to the next thing. Hey, can you send that file? What's the update on the Anderson project? Cool, thanks. And then they're gone. Efficient, transactional, no extra fluff. But not him. With him, the conversation doesn't end when the work stuff ends. In fact, that's when the real conversation begins. You've probably experienced it. You finish discussing a project, and instead of leaving, he lingers. He leans on your desk. He pauses. He asks, so, how's your week going? Or maybe he throws in a funny story that has nothing to do with the task at hand. Something about his dog or his horrible attempt at cooking dinner last night. It's casual, but also incredibly intentional. Why? Because when a man likes you, truly likes you, he looks for opportunities to connect beyond the context of work. He's no longer there just to solve a task. He's there because you are there. This is one of the clearest signals that you've moved from coworker to someone I want to be around, even when I don't have to be. It's not about wasting time. It's about investing it quietly, patiently. To build something deeper, connection doesn't always start with a grand romantic gesture. Often it starts with a guy choosing to stay an extra 2 minutes in your presence when he could have easily walked away. And those extra minutes, they speak volumes. Maybe he asks questions that have nothing to do with your shared responsibilities. Maybe he shows genuine interest in your weekend, your family, your hobbies. Maybe he just seems to enjoy the vibe of talking to you. Even in silence, there's something warm, unspoken, like he just doesn't want the moment to end. It's also about energy. Watch how he behaves in meetings. Maybe you both finish talking about a presentation, and instead of disappearing back into his inbox, he circles back later with a little joke or a personal comment. It's his way of keeping the thread alive. In a world where people are busy and time is scarce, presence becomes a gift. So when he gives you those little lingering moments, that follow-up conversation, that effortless transition from colleague mode into something softer, more human, it's a sign he sees you as more than just part of the team. And look, he might not even realize he's doing it, but you will. You'll feel it in the way he lights up when you speak, in the way he stands just a little closer, in how his tone shifts, less formal, more familiar, because at some point the work talk becomes just an excuse to be near you. And when a man starts inventing reasons to stay in your orbit, even after the important stuff is done, that's not just friendliness, that's interest, that's intent. That's him quietly asking without saying it, can we keep this going? Can we make this more than just work? And sometimes the moment the task is done is exactly when the love story begins. So now you've seen the signs. He finds reasons to be near you. He asks about your life, not just your workload. He remembers the little things. He gets a little nervous, like your presence genuinely matters. And when the work talk is done, he doesn't walk away. He sticks around. And maybe, just maybe, reading all this, someone specific came to mind. Here's the thing. Traction at work can feel complicated. You second guess. You overanalyze. You wonder if you're reading too much into things. But when a man consistently shows up with presence, curiosity, warmth, and that subtle desire to be in your world, it's not by accident. That's him revealing his hand, piece by piece. Now, does this mean you should confront him with, hey, do you like me? No, you don't need to rush the moment, because the beauty of real connection, it unfolds. And your job isn't to force clarity. Your job is to respond with confidence. So if you're feeling something too, engage, lean in, ask him a personal question back, hold his gaze a second longer. Allow space for chemistry to breathe. Let him know, without saying a word, that the door isn't closed. And if you're not feeling it, that's okay too. You now know how to recognize these signs when they show up. And you can set your boundaries from a place of clarity and self-worth. But either way, here's your call to action. Stop shrinking from the signs. Start trusting what you see. Because when a man is showing up consistently, subtly, emotionally, that's not noise, that's signal. You deserve to be noticed. You deserve to be pursued in a way that feels respectful, intentional, and real. And the right man, he'll find a way to show you he's serious, even in the quietest moments. So keep your eyes open. But more importantly, keep your heart open too.